Hey guys, just want to do a little video about the different resistance wires for building vape coils. The most common in my opinion is nichrome 80. It's pretty much all I use for mine. Lots of different types. I stick with this brand mostly, but if you're just starting out, there's cheaper wire available, which I highly recommend you using. That way, if you screw up a bunch, it's not really a big deal. Even this, excuse me, this more expensive wire is still not super expensive, but if you're throwing a lot of it away, it doesn't make sense to use it. So definitely stick with the cheaper stuff. It's all online, you can find it. Most common I'd say is 24, 26, 28 gauge nichrome for sub-ohm vaping. And you can use it for fused Claptons or alien coil Claptons. And then there's a lot of other stuff out there if you want to go down that road. But I personally just make coils for personal use. I don't like the idea of paying upwards of $25 for a set. Even though they last months, just figure out how to make them on your own and you can save buku bucks. So these are usually going to be your core sizes, or if you're doing round wire builds, this will be your main wire. But when you start getting the multi-cores, you'll wrap it in smaller wire like this, 36 gauge. It's a lot finer. So when you do a Clapton, you would just take your 24 or 26 and you just wrap it straight around the cores, and you got a fused Clapton. With an alien, there's other videos on here explaining how to do the aliens, but you take your first core wire, fuse it with a single strand of this, pull it off, stretch it, and then wrap it on your cores. So you're going to use smaller wires like this for that purpose. 40's like human hair, and then it gets even smaller than that. That's how the system works. The smaller the wire, the higher the number. So I do have some stainless steel that I use. If you use DNA chips, you have to use stainless steel for the replay mode, but I never really got into it because stainless steel, the ohms kind of jump around a lot, and also it rusts a little bit, like pretty quickly. I don't know, it's not like a permanent rust, but your build always looks kind of crappy. So I'm just not a big fan of stainless steel. The colors are a lot better when you pulse your coils when you use stainless steel too. That's the other advantage. But the other wire that I don't have any at all is Kanthal. I don't personally use it, but I know a lot of people with nickel allergies, like that's in nichrome, they almost exclusively use Kanthal. It's not as stretchy, so it's going to be harder to work with when you're doing your builds. And I just think nichrome's an all-around better wire to go with. Nichrome, nickel chromium. So that's some of the stuff I know about wire. I have quite a bit. I usually wait for it to go on sale and then I'll stock up. But as you can see here, I keep it sorted out by gauge. If I see a build online or on social media that I think looks cool that I want to try, then I like to have the wire ready to go. So the smaller gauge stuff's always going to be a little bit cheaper just because it's thinner. But the only other thing is ribbon wire, which I don't use much of. It's really only for framed builds, like framed staples, framed aliens, which is where you take some of the ribbon wire and you put it in between like two outer round wire cores, and then you wrap that up. It just gives you more wire, more places for juice without messing with the resistance too much. So, but I don't know, ribbon's kind of expensive and it's cool, but just round core builds seem to work just fine for me. So here's a couple coils that I built myself. These are Alien 4-core aliens. Pretty much vape these exclusively. And then you can build, let's see. These are like little MTL guys that I build. They're about 0.6 resistance. They're fused Claptons, which is two 32 gauge. And then I fuse them with 40 gauge. And it just helps out with flavor. Round wire works just as good for direct lung vaping or MTL vaping, but that's part of what keeps me off cigarettes is the different aspects and things I can do and fiddle with, and I really enjoy that part of it. So anyhow, short explanation of wire and what I use and how it's used.